get through this. For more details, visit va.gov/coronavirus. From the Fox News Podcasts Network, The Campaign with Bret Baier.
Eventually, we're going to get to a point where different places, and it's not flick the switch. But as far as the campaign, how does it look?
Trump stepped forward basically to say, I own this, and I have authority with this. I'm not sure how smart that was politically, strategically. It would have been probably better, I think, for him to put himself on the side of the working folks who are stuck at home, who are desperate to go back to work.
Subscribe and listen now by going to foxnewspodcasts.com.
Former Senate staffer Tara Reade, who's accusing likely 2020 Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden of sexual assault, saying she's now being targeted and threatened online.
In an interview with Fox News, she told us in part, I find it astounding, the hypocrisy that Democrats are talking about women being able to tell their story safely. I'm a Democrat, a lifelong Democrat, but yet here I am trying to talk about my history with Joe Biden, and I'm just the target of online harassment. Reade also says she doesn't remember if she used the exact phrase sexual assault in the complaint that she says she filed back in 1993, but she does remember describing how Biden made her uncomfortable by allegedly talking about wanting her to serve drinks because he liked her legs and thought she was pretty.
Fox's Garrett Tenney. No new coronavirus cases reported today in New Zealand. A big moment. It's the first time since the outbreak took hold in mid-March that country has reported 0 new cases. Commemorating 50 years since the shootings at Kent State looks very different now than what was planned due to the coronavirus.
If you go on the May 4th 50th commemoration website for Kent State, you'll find video of small flickering candles, a replacement for the annual candlelight walk and vigil. This year, they're asking people to take a picture of themselves holding a lit candle and post it to social media with the hashtag Kent State May 4. A number of events, panels, discussions, film screenings, and tours were canceled this year due to the virus. On this date 50 years ago, the National Guard fired on campus protesters, killing 4 and wounding 9. They'd been marching against then-President Nixon's expansion of the Vietnam War with an invasion of Cambodia. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Israel's Supreme Court hearing arguments against the legality of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's coalition deal with his former rival. The hearing coming a day after it deliberated on whether or not the longtime leader could head a government while indicted on serious crimes. I'm Paul Stevens, and this is Fox News.
Since 1946, Murphy's Builder Supply has been serving the folks of Jessup, Wayne, and surrounding counties with quality products and knowledgeable service. Matter of fact, they feel they sell service first to make sure you get exactly what you need for your home improvement projects. And with each employee at Murphy's being there for 10 years or more, you know you're talking with someone with the experience to help you with building supplies, tools, paint, and all the things you need from a full-service hardware store. The best choice in home improvement is Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jessup.
For the best car wash at the best price, then go to the new Nips Car Wash, located at 459 Highway 301 South, down from McDonald's in Jessup. Nips Car Wash features state-of-the-art IQ automatic car wash system. Every car or truck that enters the automatic IQ wash system is scanned to capture its unique vehicle profile to give you a great car wash every time. Nips Car Wash also features 2 self-service bays where you can choose from a variety of accessories such as foam brush, tire brush, bug off, wax, clear coat, and spot-free rinse with powerful blowers located in each bay to top off your car wash experience at an affordable price. For the best quality car wash around, go to the new Nips Car Wash located down from McDonald's on the left on Highway 301 South in Jessup. That's Nips Car Wash with a state-of-the-art IQ automatic wash system on Highway 301 South down from McDonald's in Jessup.
8 o'clock here at the Big Dog, WIFO-FM, time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply and Nips Car Wash.
Good morning. It's Mondays with Stephen Meeks. We got Stephen on the phone. Stephen, how was your weekend?
Good morning. It's great. Beautiful weather. How about it?
Yeah, beautiful weather. Some businesses open back up, so hopefully some type of normalcy here in Wayne County anyway. Just want to get your thoughts. Just want to get your...
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I was just saying everybody's itching to get back to some level of normalcy.
Right.
What it was like today, so...
You know, just want to get your thoughts. The governor on Thursday lifted the shelter-at-home order for most Georgians. Again, he ordered the elderly and medically fragile to stay in until at least mid-June, but urged all Georgians to take responsibility, again, continue the social distancing, protect themselves from large gatherings. most people seem to be following those leads. But again, he stressed, and we stressed time and time again, he's not ordering anybody to go back and do anything they don't want to do. I mean, it's just freedom of choice right now. If you want to go visit a restaurant, you can. If you don't, you don't. If you want to go get your hair done, you can. Just want to get your thoughts on the governor's actions thus far. Again, he said he'd be criticized either way. Just want to get your thoughts on what's taking place and how do you think it's going?
Well, I think that obviously, as we've mentioned last week, the governor's got a great team in place, and Dr. Kathleen Toomey and others that are providing him briefings on numbers, cases, and trends, and the models, and what data they're seeing coming back from those models and day-to-day numbers of cases. And he's made the decision to go ahead and start easing back and opening up the economy, as you mentioned. I think Georgia's one of 13 states, one of about a dozen states that have begun to reopen businesses with restrictions, as you mentioned. And again, it's largely at the discretion and the decision of the Georgians to whether or not to go out to restaurants and re-engage in the community in which they did previously before the outbreak of the coronavirus.
And again, he said he's doing this because he feels the state is ready. He says they built up the infrastructure at the hospital capacity, they've got the ventilators, they've ramped up testing. Your thoughts on that? What are you hearing across the state? Are people pleased with what's taking place?
I think generally they are. Obviously, the criticism will continue to come from different areas of the state. Here in South Georgia, they've opened up a testing facility over in Blackshear at Emmanuel Baptist Church, being staffed by the National Guard, the Georgia Guard. We've got to continue testing as we've seen from even some of the major sporting events promoters that, one of the important things we've got to do is, in terms of opening up sports is testing. And, we've got to continue to build on that and making sure that those that may be asymptomatic, if you're feeling not so well, temperature or what have you, be checked out to make sure that you're not a carrier of it. But we've got to start at some point easing back into the community, into opening the economy and getting folks back out and back to work.
And we've been announcing Long County is going to have one of these mobile specimen collection centers this Thursday over in Long County from 1 to 4 at the Smiley Elementary School parking lot. So more and more of these testing sites are opening up around the area. Your thoughts on that?
But again, it's very important, and I would encourage everyone to call the COVID-19 hotline, the 844-442-2681, and have a consultation with the Department of Public Health to see if you need to be tested, and then follow their instructions. Again, we've got to be vigilant. We've got to continue to follow the social distancing guidelines, even the businesses that are open and following the guidelines. And I know a lot of great businesses are doing a lot of work in preparation for opening to ensure the safety of their employees as well as the safety of the customers that do choose to come out and shop. So a lot of work is going into it, a lot of work behind the scenes by business owners to ensure that they are complying with the restrictions and the guidelines that have been set forth by the Governor, Department of Public Health, and CDC to make sure that we are protecting individuals and businesses and employees the way that we should be doing.
If you're just joining us, this is Mondays with Meeks. Stephen Meeks, the state representative, on the phone with us. As the state of Georgia opens up, the question is, when does the legislative session open back up? Still here in 2 days, May 14th, June 11th. Your thoughts on when it's going to take place?
Our communications from Speaker Rawson have been June 11th is when we will reconvene. The appropriations committees are beginning budget hearings and budget meetings. Those will begin today, online meetings, and I believe the 19th of May is when the Speaker expects in-person meetings to resume at the state capitol. So that's the timeline that we've been given for going back and finishing up what will obviously be a very tough budget that has to be passed by for the fiscal year beginning July 1.
And speaking of the budget, I saw a story this weekend where the governor's already talking about how much they're going to cut each budget. I think I saw something like 14% across the board. Can you confirm that?
14% across the board is what the agencies have been given instructions to look within their budgets to see where cuts can be made. Obviously, we're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of $3.5 billion to be cut from the budget, and that has gone to all agencies. Previously there were some agencies that were not cut. And I do believe at this point all agencies have been given that instruction to take a look and see where we can trim our state budget and maintain services that we're supposed to provide our citizens.
You know, as well as anybody that's involved with universities, K through 12 funding. So how hard of a hit is that going to be for schools in this area?
It's going to be a very tough budget cut. I do believe that being that everything is on the table, I think we're going to have to be strategic in how we craft this budget. We've got some great leadership in Chairman Terry England and now Chairman Blake Tillery to really take a look and dive deep into those budgets for the departments. Obviously, we're seeing increased spending in the Department of Public Health and health care. So we've got to balance those increased costs in that areas with budget cuts and services that we offer to our citizens in other areas and really figure out what is the best way to do this. And it's going to be a tough year. I think there were a lot of us that were hoping for a couple of things when it came to budgetary items or restoring some that the governor had cut as we did in the House budget. But it's going to be a tough cut. We got to work hard and diligently to make sure we do it in the best possible way.
It sounds like tough times are ahead. It's amazing. Before this pandemic hit, the governor had already talked about cutting budget in a lot of agencies, and that's what was taking place. But now that this has hit, and now it's just going to take a big financial toll, so it's going to be a more difficult task for you legislators to get up there and see how this budget is going to work out. We mentioned this before. It's going to be a tough process, and lots going to be discussed. So the question is, does anything else get done besides the budget? I mean, that's the one thing you have to do. It's going to be a difficult process. Do you see any other bills passing or any other discussions taking place, or is it just going to be solely on the budget?
Well, I'm hopeful that since we will be there, and there are some items that have been passed either by the House or the Senate that we could take action on, I'm hopeful that we can take a look at some of those. And being that we're already going to be there, unless the budget is completed in a package on June 11th, we will have some time, and it'll be the best use of our state's resources to pass some good legislation while we are there. And I'm hopeful that we can do that. Obviously, as we keep mentioning, the budget is the big issue. But want to be there, we might as well. And it's the right thing to do to take a look at some of the positive legislation that has been passed and see if we can't go ahead and act on that and get that to the governor's desk for a signature.
When you watch the news on this coronavirus, everybody's got a different take. Everybody's got a different outlook. You still hear this talk about a second wave's coming. Some say it could be worse than the first wave. So your thoughts on that? What happens if we do see a second wave? Are they going to shut everything down again, or are we going to go? What's going to take place, do you think?
I am hopeful we do not see that second wave. I'm hopeful that we can continue to be very vigilant in our daily activities and protecting ourselves and our loved ones, and making sure that we are following the guidelines that have been laid out so that we can help prevent that. If we do get to a place where we're facing that, there's going to be some hard decisions, I imagine, that have to be made in order to help contain it. Hopefully the CDC and industry and researchers will come quickly with a treatment for coronavirus, whether it be a vaccine or otherwise. I read that there are some vaccines coming quickly, but that approval process takes time and testing, et cetera. And I know some of that is being done based on articles that I've read, but that's going to be very important as we continue to move forward. And it's going to take each and every one of us individually to make sure that we're doing the things that we need to be doing to help flatten that curve, if you will, and protect ourselves.
I'm curious, you work on a farm, you're big in agriculture. How's the farming community been affected by this pandemic crisis statewide and nationwide?
Well, obviously, each sector of the agriculture industry is impacted by this, and whether it be from a cotton industry and China being one of the largest purchasers of cotton, in the world, to China shut down. So once that starts happening and your largest customers start shutting down, obviously it has a great impact on market. The fruit and vegetable guys, blueberry producers have been tremendously impacted by the coronavirus, simply because a lot of your restaurants have shut down. Their customers that they were shipping fresh produce to are not open currently. Schools are out. So when you look at it, all of those are big markets for individual producers, whether it be strawberries, blueberries. Onion crop is now coming in and in grocery stores. So a lot of folks aren't buying as much, not shopping as much as they were, although we are cooking more at home. But it's been a great impact all across the spectrum, as it has been for other industries as well.
I asked you this last Monday. I ask it again because I'm curious. You're one of our representatives. You hear from constituents all the time. What are you hearing from the constituents at this point? Are there questions about small business loans? Are there questions about, are people upset or not upset with the governor's actions? Or, what are you hearing from your constituents at this time?
It's all across that board that you just mentioned, Bob. Some folks are happy. Some folks are not. We have some sectors of the population and voters that don't understand why he's done what he is doing, and we try to do our best, and with the information that we have from the governor's office, and talking through with the constituents why he's doing that. But also there also continues to be other issues that our state government is functional. It is operating. Whether it be issues with the Department of Revenue, the Department of Family and Children Services, or others, we're maintaining that communication with those departments to assist constituents with needs on a daily basis. So it's really all over the board, and even when it comes down to the Small Business Administration loans that have been put out there with the Paycheck Protection Program, even providing some of that communication back to the department, either directly or through our federal partners in Congress, to get the best answers and the quickest action that we can for our constituency.
Yeah, he's in a tight spot for sure. As he mentions, the big state of Georgia. Let's take Wayne County, for example. We're going on week 5, I think, being shut down. And the numbers come out twice a day from the Department of Public Health, and we're sitting at 13 going into this week. So
right.
A lot of people are just shaking their head like, we've shut it down for 5 weeks for 13 cases. I mean, a lot of people are just getting frustrated when they see those figures. I know it's different in other parts of the state, but that's what the governor has to weigh. I think that's what he's trying to do, balance it out. Every county across the state is not the same. So you got to feel for him in that regard. Like I said, he's catching it from both sides, but he's trying to do what he thinks is best for a lot of people. So, like I said, he's not mandating anybody has to go back or nobody has to open up their business. I saw where a lot of Atlanta businesses didn't open back up, but a lot of people have been given that opportunity. And like I said, that when you talk about their livelihood, it's hard to say no. So it's a tough balancing act that he's walking. He's kind of like walking on that tightrope. He can't win either way.
There's a lot of truth to that, simply because of the diversity of our state and the needs of our state, from the mountains down to the beaches and to South Georgia. Everybody's different. The populations are different, and when you look at it, as you mentioned, we have 13 cases in Wayne County, and a lot of people may scratch their head and say, okay, why did we do this for 13 cases? Well, it's largely because of the unknown. You don't know where it is, and I think what he is trying to do is to provide some guidelines to make sure that we are protecting the health of customers, of employees, and of business owners themselves. And as we've mentioned before, what's essential versus not essential. Well, I guess that depends on how you look at it. Your business is essential to you, whether it may not be to the government or not. And it's important to you that you get that business up and going. You know, as we continue to see articles from across the country of businesses that have been in operation for many, many years, a lot of them are in financial hard times right now, given what we've gone through. So it's going to take its toll on the economy the longer we're closed. And then again, even with opening those businesses that were shut down, even with the guidelines that have been laid out there, it's still going to be a challenge because you're limited to the capacity at which you can put customers into a restaurant. There's a long list of things that have to be done in order to comply. So it's going to be continue to be a balancing act until we get through this, and we will. And there are a lot of great people out there, and you know, thank you is not enough to the first responders and the front lines of those who are out there combating this for all of us that we don't see them day in and day out. Your healthcare workers, the hospital, you know, employees that are there day in and day out. You know, we have to take a step back and realize, you know, they're in the same boat that we are, but because of their profession, they get up and go to work every day, and they don't know. I mean, they're concerned for their families as well, and thank you is not enough for those individuals being on the front lines to help us as Georgians and Americans fight this pandemic.
You know, the governor emphasized he goes on data, you know, so he's opened it up. You know, we're going on a week or the first couple of weeks. He says if he sees a spike, that they'll reverse course. How long will it take to see it? We'd see a spike. Is it going to be a couple of days, a week, 2 weeks? When would we know if there is a spike?
I think it depends on the testing. From what I've gathered, the results of tests are coming back quicker in some cases. They're able to get those results back in a more timely manner. But from my reading and my understanding, the incubation, if you will, of the virus within the potential carriers, I've heard it's maybe as long as 7 to 10 days that you don't know you have it, that you may end up with it or test positive for it. So I think it's a testing mechanism of how quickly are folks tested and how quick can those results get back. You know, I think that probably in the next week to 2 weeks, because most of the data that you're seeing now, again, is based off of the timely response and the timely reporting of those tests that are conducted on specimens that are gathered. So I think it depends on that and how quickly we can get those back. And I know that has ramped up. They're getting results back quicker. I know in some cases there are exams or tests that are back within 24 hours, from what I've been told by health professionals. So I think a lot of it's going to depend on that and where we see that data trend going over the next 7 to 10 days.
And it should be emphasized again, he is asking that the elderly and those medically fragile, again, continue to stay sheltered home until at least mid-June, and urge Georgians all to take responsibility for protecting themselves, still encouraging the social distancing, washing the hands, things like that. So, again, there are guidelines still in place, so he's not just totally opened it up.
Right, exactly. And it's, you know, that's the important thing of the things that you just mentioned. We have to continue to do that and be vigilant. If there are things that I can do or concerns or, you know, a need from your state reps, please give me a call. My cell is 912-207-0813. If you have concerns or issues that we can be of assistance with, don't hesitate to give me a call, and we'll be happy to help out and help coordinate that answer or whatever the issue may be.
And as a representative, I'm sure you hear from business owners all across the district. Are the small business loans coming through for most people, or are people still having some issues with it, or what are you hearing?
Those that I have heard from, obviously, the program ran out of money really quickly. I've heard from a couple that are still waiting. But I know that the Small Business Administration is working very diligently to try to get those processed as quickly as possible with the guidelines that have been put out there and regulations heard from a few that have received some of the assistance. So if we can continue to help facilitate that, please call.
And most people got a stimulus check. I understand there's talks about a possible second wave of that coming. Have you heard anything about that?
I've heard probably the same reports that you have from Washington, that they are looking at a second wave of those checks coming out, but I haven't gotten any firm detail as of now.
Are you talking to other legislators in the district? I'm sure you keep in touch with Blake and Bill, but across the state, you're talking to those people. Are they itching to get back and get this budget done, or what are you hearing from them?
Everybody's ready for the normalcy to return. Yes, sir. I think there are some priorities that other members have in my conversations with them. They would like to see us to get done, as we've mentioned, other legislation other than the budget. But I think members are ready to get back and go ahead and take care of the business of the state as we're elected to do, and then get home and return to some normalcy with our families.
The big question people keep asking, though, how bad of an economic hit is this going to be? You keep hearing talk about Great Depression, things like that. I mean, I guess we won't know until you get up there and, you set a budget and things like that. And nobody knows how long this is going to last, but the economy is definitely taking a huge hit through all this, for sure.
Right. Given where we started in the economy in which we were operating, a run of 6 years in a row of the best state to do business. I think the long-term effects of this, it may be months before we know truly what kind of, not necessarily damage, but what kind of hit the economy is going to take. It's going to take a while for it to bounce back, given where we're starting from. But hopefully, with the national economic policies that are in place, that we can move back more quickly than what we expect, and get back to doing business as we have done. We've worked very hard in Georgia. I know that even over the past couple of weeks, there have been at least one, if not two, economic development announcements across the state of creating jobs in Georgia. So it's going to be very important that we continue to do that and continue to recruit businesses at a state level to Georgia, so that we can get our citizens back to work and getting back to providing that income that they were accustomed to.
One final question before I let you go. June 11th is the tentative date. When will we see a definite date on when the legislation will return? I mean, while they're waiting, for the May 14th date to pass, because that's the other date that's out there. I mean, when do you think they'll, say definitely this is when the legislation is going to reconvene in Atlanta?
I think part of the goal is to make sure we've got the most recent numbers from the Department of Revenue and the most recent budget estimate from the governor, so that we can do best job that can be done in a very difficult situation of a huge budget cut. But I think it really depends on budget numbers and trying to get the most recent ones, which I think is why they were trying to lean toward, at least the speaker, that June 11, so that we've got the most recent April and May numbers in, that we can that the budget committees can work from in crafting that budget.
Okay. And before I let you go, if any constituents have a question, need to get a hold of Stephen Meeks, what's the best way to get a hold of you and do that?
Absolutely. My cell number is 912-207-0813, and just give me a call anytime, and look forward to hearing from constituents.
Okay, Stephen, again, we appreciate you being here every Monday with Meeks. Stay safe, and we'll look forward to the legislative session getting back in session. It sounds like it's going to be a difficult task approving that budget with 14% cuts all across the board. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Well, thank you, and y'all have a great day, and thanks for all you do for our community.
Okay. Again, those comments of State Representative Stephen Meeks here with Mondays with Meeks. We'll be back to wrap up the Butch and Bob Show after this.
You can recognize your 2020 graduating senior on WIFO-FM. Just call